Hello viewers, welcome to our lecture series on marketing management, and we have been discussing about the branding strategies, and in this segment of my lectures I'll be telling you about the branding strategies and also the packaging and labeling. So let us continue our discussion on the topic of brand concept management. I told you in the previous lecture of mine about what exactly the brand concept is and with what motive these brands are being made or being floated in the market. So there is a question which comes to us that there are three different customer needs. One is functional, second is symbolic, and third one is experiential. So a question or a very pertinent question comes in our mind: can a brand be made to offer multiple benefits? Which means, can we combine all these benefits that one product is offering you, one brand is offering you: functional, symbolic, and experiential, all three needs? Some of the brands, they are doing it. So how we are going to manage this brand concept, that is something which is very important to understand. So we can say theoretically it is very much possible that for all brands it is being done, but practically speaking it is very difficult for a brand manager to manage all three needs in one brand: functional, symbolic, and experiential. So many brands in the marketplace, they attempt to combine two benefits at a time and create an image accordingly. But of course, combining all three benefits, all three needs into one product or one brand becomes a very difficult task for a marketer. So we have to understand that this kind of strategy is not without its dangers. There are certain shortcomings of also for this particular type of strategy, where we combine more than one benefit to a particular brand. So we have to understand that combining multiple benefit concepts into a brand, it creates inconsistency in your positioning strategies if you look for your strategy in the long run. So what is the challenge? The initial challenge for the brand manager is to decide on the brand concept. So as a brand manager, I have to first decide what my brand concept is. And once I have chosen my brand concept, whether it is functional, symbolic, or experiential, it would remain consistent over lifetime of the brand, or you can say for the entire life of the brand. Whatever concept you have decided, it is just like the way you position yourself as a person. So whatever first impression you have created at your workplace or at your home, then of course you are going to continue with the same. So this is why we say that the first impression is the last one. So the brand concept chosen, once you have chosen that whether you will be functional, you will be targeting towards functional needs, or symbolic, or experiential, or combination, any two combinations of them, or all three, then of course that would remain consistent over lifetime of a particular brand. And the brand concept becomes a guide in executing your positioning decisions. But remember, we have to challenge that the actual position of the brand may change depending upon the market conditions, and its concept would remain the same over the brand's life. So concept remains the same, but the actual position of brand may change depending upon the market conditions. So depending upon the requirement of the market, your actual position may change, but your concept remains the same. Your definition, your identity remains the same. So we have to understand, if I have to conclude this entire meaning of the term brand concept, the brand concept defines the brand's market boundaries within which the brand may change its position. So brand concept is basically your boundary within which you have to change your position. So in this area, this is the area in which you may keep on changing your position, and according to the market requirement, according to your customer's need, you may change. So there are a number of examples of eternal brands and their concepts, and I would be presenting before you the oldest example of a particular brand called Lifebuoy soap. So since 1894, this is basically this was the beginning of this particular brand. The brand has unwaveringly clung to its original concept. And Lifebuoy originated as a carbolic soap with a functional benefit concept. So this particular soap was positioned, or its concept was communicated as a carbolic soap with a functional benefit concept, and it effectively washes off germs that come with dirt and grimps. Since 1894, this has become the concept of this particular brand. This was the concept of this particular brand. So it was basically working on functionality, that this is the functionality of this particular brand. And at that time, this particular soap was launched in order to fight with the pandemic of cholera at that particular point of time, and for that this brand was basically floated, and till date it is clinging to its original concept, and that original concept is that it is a carbolic soap with a functional benefit concept. Another example of, if this in the same segment, if we talk about the eternal, I am talking about eternal brands where the identity of the brand has not changed. Because you must be thinking that, sir, you said that once the brand concept is defined, it continues for long run. You cannot change the concept of brand, you can simply change its positioning. Another example of after Lifebuoy is the Lux. Lux soap seems to have defined the concept of time. It has defied the concept of time. It continues to rule the Indian bathing soap market. If you talk about the Indian bathing soap market, they are the largest seller, and ever since it was launched over 50 years ago. So around 50-55 years back, this particular brand was launched, and till date it is having the same identity, it is having the same concept, and it has defied the concept of time. And this brand has been a soap which promised the beauty of film stars. So it is a symbolic concept. They have associated themselves with a particular celebrity, and with the change of time, they kept on changing that celebrity, the name of celebrity. So in all their advertisements, what they did, they kept on changing the prominent film stars according to the requirement of the time. So those who got prominence in a specific decade, they were prominently advertised, they actually endorsed this particular brand. So this brand has been a soap which promised the beauty of film stars, and it's a symbolic concept, symbolic need of customers you are looking into. Although if you look at the bathing soap market in India, it has witnessed many ups and downs, and Lux continues to charm the masses with its beauty appeal. So it is basically using the symbolic concept as far as the concept of this particular brand is concerned. So I gave you two examples of eternal brands. One is since 1894, that is Lifebuoy, and another is Lux, which I told you about, the Indian brand, that it is basically in India it is being marketed, and it is still having a symbolic concept as a conceptual identity of this particular brand. Then comes the name of Dettol. Dettol, it has a history going back over 60 years old, and this brand has traveled from the battlefield to households as an effective germicide. So Dettol has its own identity. The moment this term, this brand name comes, you rest assured about the effectiveness, the effective germicide, that yes, this is really very effective, and its promise of protection against germs has remained constant. Over a period of time, they have emerged, they have positioned themselves as the most effective brand in this particular segment. Dettol actually, and for which what Dettol did, Dettol religiously stuck to its core benefit, that is called their functional appeal, and the brand is still the market leader and a hot property in its category. The reason is very clear, because it is sticking to its own functional appeal. So this is what I wanted to indicate when I was telling you about the brand concept. Once it is defined, it is going to continue for long, or even for the lifetime of the brand. So Dettol has actually created its own concept, that yes, we are here, we are actually having a functional appeal, and because of that functionality they are being known. So Reckitt is a company which actually markets it, and Reckitt and Benckiser in India, they are basically marketing Dettol. But even the company doesn't want people to know. So the name of the company is put at the lower pedestal, and they are basically highlighting the brand name. They want their brand name to be as popular as it is. So constantly and consistently they have been delivering those functional benefits, and their core benefit is basically the functional appeal. Another example in this segment can be of Bournvita. Cadbury's Bournvita, it has ruled the brown beverage market ever since its introduction. So they had their own way of positioning themselves, and this brand's core proposition has remained the same over the long period it has been in the marketplace. So it continues to offer the essential vitamins and minerals that children need. So they are basic, again another example of functionality, functionally focused on its benefit. So the entire brand concept is concentrated towards the functional benefit which this particular brand is offering to its customers. So they had positioned themselves in such a way that they are going to offer essential vitamins and minerals to their customers and to the children's, the segment towards which they are targeting. So according to the requirement of that particular segment to which they are going to serve, that functionally focused, the functionality is being used as a concept for this particular brand. So although the brand's positioning has been changed according to the requirement of the time, but its concept has not been diluted. As I told you that positioning may change, position may change, but yes, of course your concept should not be diluted, your concept remains the same, and that is actually the basic requirement, or what you can call is the prerequisite of a successful brand. I can give you number of examples, but I would be limiting to some of them only due to the paucity of time. Say Colgate. Colgate has a long history. It was founded by William Colgate way back in the early 1800, and it is a worldwide number one in oral care when it comes to the oral care products, and it has always stood for clean, white and healthy teeth. So if you look at any of the advertisements of the Colgate, you would find the same as their brand concept. So it has constantly upgraded its image and expanded its range to cover all possible segments in that particular segment. But yes, it has never compromised on its concept, and the concept is that one word for dental care. So they are basically positioning themselves. Their concept is basically again the functional the functional concept they are using. So there are number of examples which are available for these particular brands. Now the question comes, what are the different stages of concept management? So coming to the stages, how to implement that. So what I have explained, that what is the brand concept, and now we are going to talk about how we are going to develop a particular brand concept. So there are three stages of brand management when it comes to the concept management. One is introduction, second is elaboration, and third is fortification. So introduction, elaboration and fortification, these are the three stages of the concept management. And if we look at the relationship between brand concept and image, it needs to be properly managed over these stages of a brand. So you have to actually manage in a requisite manner when you are talking about the different stages. So across the stages you have to manage the image of a particular brand in a constant and consistent manner. So the question comes, what are the challenges which the management of a company, which a brand manager is going to face when they talk about the concept management? So they have a challenge of adopting specific positioning strategies in these stages depending upon what is to be achieved. What I wish to achieve, I should have a clarity, I must have a clarity on that as a brand manager. So if we talk about the introduction stage, at the time of a brand's entry, of course as the term itself is indicating that whenever the brand enters the market, this is the first stage. So at the time of brand's entry, the key task is to establish its image or position. Initially, whenever I am entering the market, because the first impression is the lasting one, is the last one. So we have to be very mindful, we have to be very vigilant here, because my key task here is to establish my image or position in the mind and heart of my customers or potential customers. So at this stage, my concern is towards the creation of image or the establishment of image. The second stage comes elaboration stage. So once I have introduced the brand, people are now aware of my brand, then of course eventually what would happen? Competition will follow. So from being a loner, the brand now gets pitched against competitive brands. Once I am gaining some profit or advantage out of floating of my own brand, my competitors may also find it very lucrative and they may also join the same segment. So we cannot put a full stop to the competition, but yes, we have to bear with that, we have to manage with that competition. So from being a loner, the brand is, once it is getting pitched against competitive brands, the second stage is required for brand concept, that is called elaboration stage. So here the task facing brand manager is how to enhance the brand's image. So you have to here go for extending or letting our brand go to another level. So we have to elevate it to another level called enhancing the brand's image, so that its perceived or perception changes from the basic product to the best one that you are talking about. Perception in the perception of the customers, that they are finding it superior to its rivals. So for that you have to elaborate, you have to actually not only go for making some addition into the features of the product, but also its advertising or its functionality or its features or its services. So the task here is, as a brand manager, you have to enhance the brand's image. For that, whatever best you can do, or it is a point where you can eliminate the drawbacks which you are facing, which according to your customers your brand is having. So you have to go for elaborating your brand. You have to provide greater strength to your brand which you have introduced in the past. So image enhancement could it can be triggered from the customer side also. So over time competitors they copy your brand, and it results in the same customer perception. So the brand's value need to be enhanced. For instance, if you talk about the Indian brand called Nirma's superiority in the economy segment was neutralized because a plethora of similar brands entered the market. Initially it entered the market with this concept that we are entering into the economy segment, and they followed the market penetration strategy. I will tell you about the market penetration strategy when we will talk about the pricing strategy. So in nutshell, market penetration means you are keeping the price of your products on a lower side, so that it can be served to the masses, it can be bought by the masses without any hurdle, and they are finding it economical to use and to buy. So it was neutralized later on because number of brands entered in the market. So what they did, they actually followed another strategy called fortification stage. So over a period of time, the company may branch out into manufacturing products in another classes also, in other segments also. So once you find that yes, this area elaboration doesn't work, or elaboration is not making me feel as I was feeling at the stage of introduction, then of course, or when I say feel, I am talking about the profitability, I am talking about the sales volume, I am talking about the market share. So here the good feeling comes from three things: market share, your profitability, the brand value. So if my market share is not improving, my profit is not as per my expectation, then of course I would go for fortification stage. So we are actually going to at this stage, the elaborate brand image needs to be connected with the image of their products. So this elaborated brand image which I had created for a particular product, for a particular service, then of course that need to be connected with the image of other products also. For instance, if you talk about Nirma itself, Nirma began with the economical yellow detergent brand, that yes, it is going to be a common man detergent powder. But over time what company did, company ventured into the different other segments also. Company introduced the brand, company actually elaborated the brand, and then later on it went for fortification. When I am saying fortification, it is indicating towards the venturing of the company into different other segments also. So from detergent powder to toilet soaps to bathing soaps to shampoos and toothpaste. So in different segments companies started, the brand started expanding its presence. So this is called fortification. So when you are going with a brand concept, you can go ahead like this. I can give you another example of Dettol. Dettol initially started with with what you call as Dettol liquid, and then it came with Dettol soap, and then Dettol hand wash. So these are the different extensions. In different ways you are entering into that particular segment. So you are actually fortifying your the fortification stage is where you are venturing into the different other products or other brands called like Nirma did in case of its own fortification stage. So the idea at the fortification stage is to connect products and different product classes with images, so that they mutually reinforce each other and strengthen the image of each brand. So once you have developed a brand, once you have expanded it, elaborated it, then of course the third stage is fortification. Why not make use of that particular brand name for different other products also? So this fortification stage is the most profitable stage, where you can expand the benefit of whatever brand concept you have created. So if the example of Nirma which I gave, which I presented in front of you, it illustrates this point particularly very well. So originally the Nirma the company has created a mix of brands like Nirma Beauty, Nirma Bath, Nirma Lime, Nirma Super Bar, and many other brands. But later on, if we look at the connectivity, it connected with the common image and positioning, that is the value for money. So the core functionality or the core benefit of the brand remains intact, that it is offering you value for money. So your positioning strategy is value for money, and with that you have continued. So the brands mutually support and strengthen each other, and the firm fortifying a brand in this manner can gain two advantages. The first advantage is the communication cost for any single brands are reduced. So you are basically finding it economical. So in place of what you call as umbrella branding strategy, which we have been using, the communication cost for any single brands are reduced. And the second benefit is similar images can provide an impression of complementarity. So if your company is having an image for value for money, then of course you can extend it by reaching to the fortification stage, and you can develop your own brand concept. So accordingly consumers may begin to use them as a package. So in this way, my dear learners, we have talked about the different branding strategies. The packaging and labeling I will be completing in the next segment of my lectures on the topic. So branding is actually nothing but creating a distinct identity with which you can distinguish yourself with that of your competitors. You can create your own identity and occupy a significant place in the mind and heart of the customers. I hope you must have understood the nuances of branding strategies which we have been discussing in the different parts of our lectures on branding strategies in this very segment. So with this, I am concluding the branding strategies here. Thank you so much.